It felt like a war zone where the population is uprising and going after you.
I never would have dreamed in a million years they would have made it into the building. Nothing could have been further from my mind.
That is the nation's capital. And the scene of literally hundreds of people forcing their way into the building.
The word that stands out the most to me is chaos. The trauma and the weight of January 6th has not left.
There are thousands of people over here by the Washington Monument. I'm on Constitution Avenue. President Trump is speaking way over there, and that area is cleared out.
Already, very early in the morning, people were walking in streams of people, carrying Trump signs, carrying American flags, but it was very much a feeling of, it seemed, every other rally. I rounded the corner and I could see the Washington Monument, and I could see there were thousands and thousands of people there. But there was something about that morning that felt a little different.
We will never give up. We will never concede. Our country has had enough. We will not take it anymore, and that's what this is all about.
I got word that Donald Trump had asked his people to go to the Capitol and that he would be joining them. But I went back to my office, to the ABC Bureau, because we had Rachel Scott up on the Hill.
At the foot of the Capitol here, chants of "Stop the Steal" behind me. You can see thousands of people gathered here.
It was my first day covering Capitol Hill. I think for a lot of people who were there that day, it is something that is really not easy to talk about. I remember looking up and just seeing thousands of people coming over from the White House all the way to the Capitol. We were being surrounded by a group of Trump supporters who were not happy that we were there. They kept asking me, when am I going to believe the truth? When am I going to see the truth? And I remember telling them, the truth is that the president lost this election.
You could hear them if you got close enough to the windows. You could hear the people, the noise was growing outside.
We started getting these reports from our Capitol Hill troops that people were literally trying to force their way inside the Capitol. We can say with a certain amount of specificity and certitude that the U.S. Capitol Police were not fully prepared in the way that they should have been prepared.
An announcement is made inside the Capitol. It's a loud noise.
Due to an external security threat, no entry or exit is permitted at this time.
The law enforcement officer who's making that announcement tells us the building is in lockdown. It's dawning on us, like something's gone wrong, and all of a sudden one of the cops we've known forever comes running up and he yells at us, "Get back upstairs, get back upstairs, they're in the building." We've spent 4 years of hearing Donald Trump declare us the enemy of the people, so we know that we're gonna be one of the targets. We start covering everything that says press gallery. We're trying to lock the doors.
Oh, we're in the basement.
In moments of strife, you still have to do your job, so you just have to push it away and try to keep doing your job.
One of the first people who came out and was leaving the Capitol said to me, "You don't want to go in there. They just shot a girl in the neck." We didn't know what was going on inside. We had no idea how bad it was at that point.
This is the Metropolitan Police Department. This area.
I saw police officers be outnumbered and overwhelmed, to it taking hours for the situation to get under control. And I just kept asking myself, how in the world is the United States Capitol left so vulnerable?
According to Justice Department summaries, well over $1.5 million worth of damage was done to the U.S. Capitol, let alone the images of a man walking around carrying a Confederate flag, let alone people walking around carrying lecterns from the legislative chambers, let alone people going to the Speaker of the House's office and putting up their feet.
It's shocking because the Capitol is this pristine, beautiful place. It was shocking to see trash, and we were walking on broken glass where they had come in one of the doors on the first floor of the Senate.
But I remember standing there, looking up at our gorgeous Capitol, and had a sense of unreality, knowing that this was one of the worst days in American history. To look to my right and see people being arrested who'd stormed it, see the National Guard. It was an unbelievable moment.
I don't think the Capitol will ever be the same. Every single day you have staff, you have press, you have lawmakers, you have police officers who are returning back to a building where they experienced so much pain.
Anybody that was there that day, you have this bond with them. Even if you don't know them, you instantly share with police officers, custodians, with anybody. If you were there that day, you can talk about it in a way that, yeah, I know, it's hard. I think the single most important thing that's being forgotten about that day is the police officers and the trauma and the hell that they went through. I've had, police officers I thought the world of, commit suicide.
Those who were there, who may have experienced the worst day of their life, have continued to return back to a building in which they experienced so much trauma. That weight, that feeling, the trauma is something that isn't really talked about, but is something that very much people are still struggling with 1 year later.
January 6th just exaggerated the divide in our country. The country was already divided. You can respect someone's opinion on the other side, but you can't respect anybody who carried out something like that on Capitol Hill. That's not a political divide. That is a reality divide. That is a stark red line.
I think a lot of people on Capitol Hill have been surprised by some efforts to try and rewrite what happened that day, even for those who were there and experienced it and saw it with their own eyes. And that's particularly difficult to hear for many people that are still struggling with the trauma from what they saw that day.
We don't have a very long memory for things these days, so I think right now I definitely live with the fear that this will easily happen again. I think my deepest hope is that this is not going to become a template for anyone who comes after Donald Trump.
What I don't want is for people to forget what happened that day or to make it any less than what it was. It was an appalling assault on democracy.